Okay, so welcome. My name is Bruce Orcutt. I'm in the product marketing group at Kofax. And Koufax is the leading provider of capture-enabled BPM products and solutions. And what we do is we help people automate their document-centric processes and enable customers to ingest content from their constituents or from their users to be able to articulate and identify information that's needed for downstream processes. So we'll get into that in more detail, but now what's happening is the trend is things are moving mobile. And we're all at this big event talking about mobile solutions and mobile technology. What I'm going to talk about today is the ability to engage your constituents and your users directly on the mobile phone and leverage that as an on-ramp or entry point into your processes. There's three key areas that we're focused on here and three key benefits. The first is the ability now to offer the ability for your constituents, your users, or your customers to be able to initiate a transaction, a process, or enter into the ability to apply for some benefits directly from their mobile device. We'll talk about some statistics and data related to mobile trends and mobile technology. But most importantly now, you have an asset that's already owned and already leveraged by your constituents. And now you can move your processes forward to them and enable to them from a self-service mode, be able to interact with your processes, submit content to you, submit documents to you, handle any exceptions in a self-service way, directly feeding your business or your process engines. We have this concept of the point of origination. And what that really means is the ability to extend any of your systems of record or system of engagements, any of your processes that you have today running in your back office, and be able to extend those processes out to your users, whether it's coming from fax, whether it's coming from email, whether you're going to scan them when a user submits them in a branch office via a multifunction device or a document scanner, and all the way out to the mobile device itself. And we'll talk about that in more detail. And really what the benefits we're focused on is being able to engage your users or your target audience in a process that you already have in production today, and enable them to leverage that mobile device as an on-ramp, entry point, or self-service interaction point to submit content to you, submit the issues that they need to be able to open their benefits enrollment package, and really move to the self-service model. More importantly, it enables you to accelerate these processes. What would happen previously if you asked a user to fill out some documents or submit content to you, that's in a waiting state. Now you can engage them directly on the device, their device of preference, ask them some questions, and get an immediate response from them. And if that is not the adequate response, if you wanted some information about their taxes, or about their insurance, or about the claim, or about proof of identity, if it's not the information you wanted, you can stop the process right there and tell them. Versus having a system that's now in an error state or a state that you now have to bring your human resources and processes to be able to automate or accelerate. And finally, better data quality. When we engage the customer at the point of origination, leveraging the mobile phone, we can actually ensure better quality data is feeding your systems. We may ask for a form or a document that has key information from your constituent, but you only may need one or two pieces of data off that document, but there may be 10, 15, 20 other pieces of data that you can use for future analytics, future analysis. That information can all now be captured and processed and submitted to your analytics engines or your process engines. So when we were working with Amy Tong as our sponsor on this event, we were concerned about putting data and examples that come from the corporate world. But it was important that she said that we include these because it's showing where a lot of the industries are going. And the government certainly is going to be tightly intertwined with some of these use cases and some of these benefits that these customers have identified. The first is that mobile really is a channel that's engaging customers and builds some customer level of loyalty. If you can engage somebody on their mobile phone, and that is the preferred mechanism for someone to talk to you, submit questions to you, get feedback from you, apply for a service, they're more likely to have a better customer experience with you. Secondly, when we talk to IT and the banking and financial services industries, mobile is an area where they're significantly investing much more today than they are on other initiatives within their IT departments. A larger level of spend is going towards mobile initiatives than are going to other systems of record or other historical processes or products that they've been supporting. Does anybody here work with mobile today as part of your job function? Anybody from e-business or e-commerce part of your role? Just give me an example of who's in the room. What groups are you working for? How do you what's your role?
Work for a project manager.
Project management in the IT space? Okay. May I ask?
I work for
Water resources. In IT or? Is anything in mobile affecting water resources at this time that you guys are looking at or evaluating? Excellent, excellent. Can I bug you in the front? You're the closest, so. Health and Human Services. So I'll give some examples. Health and Human Services is a great example of processes with a high number of transactions, large constituent base, that now there's benefits if they can go and reach those constituents as another channel to submit content to them. They can accelerate that request for service, that request for benefit, and help eliminate or truncate that paper that's coming into the systems early in the process. And that's an area where mobile provides great benefit. As it relates to a constituent engagement tool, this was some fascinating data, and I love the infographics that we are seeing now. This comes from a group called Koufax with some additional other data from other vendors. But this graphic is important to understand of how people are leveraging their phones today. Your users, your constituents, everybody you're touching with your services and solutions has a mobile phone effectively. I actually sleep with my mobile phone. Not literally, but it's next to my bed. And I've seen statistics now that around 70%, 80% of people out there, their phone is plugged in and charging right next to their bed. And when it goes zzz and beeps, they kind of get alert and they should I check it or not check it? I'm not gonna ask you guys if you do that too, but I, for one, am a person who does that. And what that means is that there's engagement, there's things happening on that phone. It's changing the dynamic of business, changing the dynamic of how your constituents want to talk to you, order services, and how they want to engage you. But more importantly, when they ask about some opportunities, who's the water group? Here's a good water example. The idea here is that the customers are asking for better ways to engage for services. If they can't get it via the mobile channel, they'll find other ways, or they'll go to another solution. Luckily, in the government space, you are the only option. On the commercial side, if you're not engaging them on the mobile front, if you don't have a solution for mobile, they're not going to do business with you. On the government side, what we're seeing our government clients ask for is we provide a multi-channel input. We've supported them to do scanning. We support them to do input from multifunction devices in the branch, email and fax, and we make the mobile devices another channel into that exact same system. So that's very important. So here's some trends related to the market. I'm sure you guys have seen this today, but it's really, most importantly is this let's see. Oops. Oh, now I'm messed up. I think it's this one. There you go. Is this trend here moving from browser-based desktop internet users? So I, for example, just did my driver's license renewal over the internet on the web. Just go to the DMV website, can do it all there. The trend, though, if you see, is that it's declining, and the access of mobile users is now growing significantly as relates to your web users. So as government agencies are shifting to move to more online, e-commerce, web-based portals and interactions with their constituents are actually moving faster, saying, yeah, I'm already off the web and I'm moving now to my mobile device. I need a mobile solution, a mobile web offering. So this is just great data to understand really what the trend is of how users are engaging over the web, how they're engaging for services. More importantly, is the number of users that have multiple devices. Does anybody here carry 2 smartphones? One. If it's not uncommon, especially for technical audiences or people that work in IT fields, they have the one that's issued by the company, and then they have their preferred device, which is their own personal. And if they aren't able to forward their company phone to their current phone, they'll carry both. But it's not uncommon. There's actually more phones than, in many of the population studies, we're seeing data on more mobile phones than the populations of many countries within those same countries, showing that there's multiple devices per user. I have an iPhone, and I also have an iPad, and I have a BlackBerry that I don't use because everything forwards to my other device. So this is a great piece of data that came from Forrester, and it really talks about the constituents, how they want to be engaged, and how customers want to be engaged, and the logic and the rationale for why people are implementing mobile solutions, and what their logic is behind them. If we look here, it's really about engagement. It's not about, you don't see the ROI use case here. You don't see, I need to reduce costs here in this business assessment. They are doing it because it's the logical channel for their customer, their target audience, to engage them and submit content to them and engage in a process or open a new account or a request for services or something to that effect. It differentiates them. It's less about the amount of revenue. But what happens here, as we do better customer engagement, and this is where it benefits the government agencies very well, is we move to self-service. And when we move to self-service, we can reduce the amount of cost, processing time, and latency that is within the system today that how you're currently doing your processes. You can reallocate staff from handling exceptions to now being more customer-facing, more constituent-facing. Reuse some of that funding, that cost, reallocate that to higher profile areas within your agency. But most importantly, as you move to self-service, you see higher levels of customer satisfaction because they submitted that to you and now they have a response from you. I received your claim, I received your application, here's the status of what's going on. It's no longer a black hole. So the customer service and satisfaction levels go up because now they have visibility and transparency into what's going on with this transaction. It eliminates the phone call, eliminates the frustrated person standing in line who's not going to be very customer friendly because they're frustrated by this process or this transaction. The other aspect is, as we look at some of the statistical data again from Forrester, the younger the demographic, the more likely they are to depend on that mobile device for all their business financial transactions. So I don't know how many of you have kids. Luckily my oldest is only 10, but I have many friends whose kids, if I can get them to look at me and look up from the phone, I'm very happy. But other than that, they live and work and breathe within their mobile space. That is within their DNA. And their expectations of how they will engage for other services and benefits and things like that come from that experience. So this is a very important trend that we're seeing where now this mobile device is really a part of that user's experience. And the benefit for our enterprise customers and our agencies and government accounts is that they can leverage this trend and now allocate and push these capabilities, these requests for services and these applications and citizen benefit enrollment processes directly to that consumer, directly to that constituent via the mobile channel. But as we do that, we need to think about who is this customer now? You are taking your end user, your target customer who would previously be walking into the DMV office, now making them a part of your process. You're engaging them. They're now a clerk at the DMV. They're now taking the role of someone that's handling their benefits enrollment process. They're now taking the role of Health and Human Services and getting them registered and into the process, into the system. They're taking that role on themselves. So you have to think about how am I going to be engaging them? How is this application going to work for them? And what can I ask them as part of this solution, how they can participate in this process? So here's an example. In a traditional case, you may ask someone to go up to the website, like I did with my DMV renewal, log into the web through to the DMV website and enter all my information in there. And I'm sitting down making a conscious effort at a time that I've allocated to sit down at a desktop PC and communicate with the DMV to renew my driver's license or registration. Alternatively, via the mobile channel, you can just say, take a picture of your driver's license. All the information is now filled out and completed. Because we can read that information off of your license, populate the form that we're requesting, and be able to help you submit that and initiate that transaction. Again, making that mobile channel a valuable and important aspect of participant in the process. So instead of sitting down saying, I can just take the website and make it mobile, I'm still asking a user to do a lot of things that they may not be comfortable doing and may not be willing to do if we ask them to enter every little piece of data. But take a photo of your driver's license, it's all pre-populated, we can check it with the DMV records, make sure it's all correct, and then fill the form out for you. Another way to better engage your constituents based upon what you're going to ask them to do and how you want them to complete the transaction. So we participated in a study with AIM, which is an industry association focused on capture and content management. And when they talked about what the benefits of moving to mobile, they were talking about processes. And within our government accounts, they're very focused on processes and service level agreements and maintaining straight through processing and really being responsive to their customer base and their constituencies. And that was the #1 reason why people were looking about moving to a mobile capture solution was the ability to accelerate these processes, but most importantly, go to a self-service model. But the number one issue and challenge that they face is security. Everyone, especially with the types of documents and the type of content on health and human services, it's very confidential. And a breach of that trust and a breach of that security model is very compromising for that agency and for the user. There's a lot of exposure there. So as we move to these new channels, security becomes extremely important, even more important now, because now on someone's phone is not only the information, but the document that they submitted with all their confidential information is now residing on their phone or on a clerk's phone that was helping them submit this information. So security is very important. And we take that very seriously as we build our solutions, because it's really important that we also not use the camera roll. We delete the images as they are captured and then once they're submitted. So a user cannot go back and email themselves that document or print that document out and use it for other nefarious acts. Once we use it for that transaction, it is gone and deleted. And we don't provide access to those images via the camera roll. And we ensure from the time that user connects to the time that document goes straight through the process and is submitted to whatever repository or content engine or process engine, we've provided full chain of custody throughout the entire process. So it's so important, and security is the number one issue that no mobile solution, at least for in the government space or in. So where our solutions work and where they play is really where we have these, processes today, and many of our customers are starting off by scanning with production scanners in the back office. We have a lot of case studies down in our booth if you want to come see some of the customers and how they're utilizing the technology, whether it's for citizen benefit enrollment, whether it's for collecting on child welfare services, health and human services, many agencies utilizing it there, where they are just scanning these large volumes of content that comes into them, and they can convert it to electronic information and store it electronically, making it searchable, retrievable, and viewable by the process. But now that, if we look at latency, that may be a process that takes about a week or 2 weeks from the time the users submit content to you to the time the information is available and actionable within the back-end system or process. We can extend this exact same process now to the remote offices, to via fax, email, and multifunction devices, so any transaction that we could accept in the back office can now be initiated in the front office. So now we're talking about moving to what we call this point of origination and extending that investment without any change to the system. More importantly, if you have remote workers or field workers out in the field who are interacting with your citizens or interacting with the process, we can give them a tablet, a cell phone, a smartphone, or a desktop scanner or a portable scanner to be able to submit content while they're out in the field. Then most importantly, take that exact same process out to the user themselves. Provide that self-service vision where they can open the benefits process and start that process off. If there's an exception and you need some more information from them, we can alert them back via SMS, via email, saying, thank you for starting this process, but I see you have these 3 issues that I need more information from you on. I need to see the proof of the building inspection. I need to see another form of identity or form of proof of residency before I can open your account or initiate your benefits process. And that's where the mobile device really becomes a valuable asset in this overall solution that you're trying to provide for your citizens. So the first thing that happens as we develop a mobile solution for our customers is we're really focused on, because this content is critical, and quite frankly, if your users are sending you information that's not readable, the process completely fails. So we have patented technology that runs on the smartphone that already ships today with over 400,000 document scanners a year ship with this technology. It's called VRS, which stands for Virtual Rescan. But what it does for you as you create a mobile application and you need to receive documents, it will assess and analyze each individual document. It will optimize the image quality so that it's readable, it can be OCR'd, read, and we have received all the information. Because we know, coming from this market, if we have a document that fails, the cost of that exception is so high that maybe the value of moving it to the mobile device is not as compelling. So what we want to do here is now be able to capture this process-ready information, optimize that data so it now can be extracted downstream, and we don't have to impact the user to say, is this good enough or not good enough? More importantly, the file sizes that we create through this patented technology is significantly smaller. So if I take a photo of a document and I want to email it to you, it may be 2 megabytes, depending on the optics of the camera, the size of the document. It may be 2 megabytes. Capture it with mobile capture from Kofax, it'll be about 25K. So that not only is that a faster upload, but for your own consumers or your own users within your own departments, that's a significant cost savings as it relates to the impact to your data plans. And for your consumers or your constituents, it's a faster response time and a significantly lower cost for them on their data plans.
What's your capture success rate on OCR?
OCR is a great question. So for the recording, I'll repeat the question, which is, what's the success rate for OCR? It's very high. OCR is very good technology, it's established and very mature. So actually reading the text, the response is very high, the accuracy is high, but it can be improved and modified based upon special dictionaries, database lookups, or other types of technologies we can use based upon the type of document we're going to be capturing, or the data we're capturing. So if we know it's only alphabet and there's not going to be any numeric characters, we can now improve the rates. If we know it's specific data types and specific words that we would be expecting, we can improve the rates. If it's a healthcare document, we can give it a healthcare dictionary and help it improve the overall accuracy. So even though OCR may not be 100%, and we still get very high, above 90% accuracy across the board, normally, we can then use other areas to improve that accuracy based upon the types of documents we're processing. So OCR is very high. Handprint and is a different story. It depends if it's unconstrained. If it's doctors on a prescription, that's a little more challenging than somebody who's filling out a form and we constrain the handprint, we'll get very good results on. But if it's free script, it's more challenging. But again, it comes back, if you can narrow the dictionaries and narrow the types of data you're looking for, you can match at pretty high success rates. The other aspect is knowing your users and understanding what their goals and objectives are in these types of processes. What's more important to know is not just the type of user, but how do they expect to engage within the system? Are we going to ask them to enter an account number? Or are we just going to say, submit this document to me, I'll figure it out based upon information on the document? And that would be dictated by a number of different factors. What's the age of that submitter? What's the skill set? What's the job function? Can we ask them to submit this information? Is that easy for them, or are we asking too much from them? But you have flexibility to decide and implement the solution that's right for that user base that can be successful. We have many experiences in law firms and in hospitals where we can ask, the higher the pay scale, the less we may ask that user to do. So we won't ask a doctor to enter any information on the phone, but we may ask the nurse to give me a patient ID, and then the administrator who's on the floor to enter 4 more other pieces of data, depending on their role. Because we know that administrator, we can teach them and educate them on the process they need to be following, and when we get to the doctor, we don't want to incumbent them, make it difficult for them to be participating in this process. So how you engage those users and engage those constituents will vary by the types of mobile solutions you will bring to market or release to your own internal users. So it's very important they understand what their goals are, what their objectives are, and really what their education or experience should be for this mobile application. Will we ask them to correct OCR on the phone? We can, but is that something we would expect the user to be able to do? And so it does vary. And it usually depends on how invested are they in this process. If it means that their application gets open tomorrow versus 4 or 5 days when there's an exception and these go through an exception process, you can ask them, say, hey, can you please correct this? Or this data doesn't match. Tell me what the right answer is. Because they have an incentive to help participate and make sure it's all right. So there's very different use cases that come out of this that you would then assess as you define your mobile users and their personas. And the other piece that's critical is most of these processes that we are automating and engaging already exist within your agencies today. You already have processes and systems in place for handling these transactions. What we're saying now is let's extend that investment in business rules and processes out to the phone and enable the phone to become this customer engagement vehicle to be able to submit content to that process and leverage that investment in business rules and exceptions. So if you've already defined a process within a capture system like Koufax, and you already have set resolutions and DPI and security permissions and configurations and job setup and formats and all that great stuff you'll set up, we can extend that and bring that all the way forward and enforce it on the phone. So you're reusing your existing investment in process engines, in workflow, in capture technology. Does that seem to make sense? Any questions? No? I like the OCR one. That was a good one, though. I don't have any awards, but that was good. So here's how the system works, is that you have your users, your constituents, they're interested in a new service, they're trying to engage you in a new process, they want to apply for some benefit. So they have their mobile device, they can then utilize that device and the camera that's already embedded in that device. We convert that basically into a production document scanner, and then they're now able to capture that document utilizing the camera of the device, and then we're able to process it and extract data from it. So information is on that document, we will read that data, and then we will deliver it to the process engines or downstream processes, so you can then grant them permission or grant them access, or give them access to those benefits. And then finally, we can give them confirmation back and get everything into the system promptly. Seem like a logical flow? Some people want to break the flow and say once it gets back into the system, I want to send them back an SMS where they can now track that account process. They can track this claim process or see additional benefits that they could have exposed to them or other services that they could apply for that they're eligible for. So here's how the demo application works. We are demonstrating this out next door in the hall. But basically, this is the standard demo. Most of our customers take our toolkit and then they rebrand the entire look and feel to their use case and their solution. But here, basically, we're asking users to frame the image, basically to give us the guidelines that we have the whole document captured. Because again, we want to make sure if we don't see the edges of the document, that means we don't have the entire document. And if we don't have the entire document, we want to allow the user to submit it. So we have settings that enable you to decide if they can submit a document that doesn't, all the data, there may be some data missing, or we require them to retake the photo. We can interactively walk them through this process. Also, the number one issue that reason why images fail and that would affect OCR and downstream processes is blur. So we're doing things utilizing the gyro within the device and the camera to make sure everything's in focus and that it's ready to take this photo and take this picture because we need to deliver a really high quality document to the back-end system. Then we run our VRS processing, which is our patented image processing that runs on the phone itself. This basically makes sure, based upon the document and the size, we can map it to a resolution, we can give it the best image quality possible, and apply the right settings that you want for this particular document or image that you're capturing. And finally, we have a process-ready document here. If this data is not readable, you have an exception. You're either going to make the user rescan it, retake a photo, or you're going to have somebody in the back office rekey this information. So again, it goes back to the fact that if you don't have the proper image processing up front, your ability to read the data downstream will be much more compromised. Then we can provide the ability to add pages, make a complex document, multiple images. If it's 3 pages, 4 pages, our normal assessment is up to about 5 pages is acceptable to use with a mobile device. More than 5, you're asking them to do maybe too much. And then in that case, they're better off mailing, faxing, emailing, or going to a local office to submit that content. But again, it goes back to the question of how important is that data, those documents, to getting that user the benefits that they require. If they're highly motivated, you can ask them to do more than 5 pages. This is just a general assessment. And then they can enter data. This data all comes from your systems, your customer engagement systems, or from Kofax Capture, our capture platform. But then we can ask them questions. Give me a document type. Tell me some metadata about you. You can enter this information directly into the phone, and we can validate that this information is correct. So you can ask them for information on the phone or not. And again, it goes by their role-based permissions. We can ask them or we cannot ask them. It all depends on what your use case is and how important this data is to accelerating the process. And then finally, confirmation. They need to get feedback from you that yes, I received your document. Yes, everything's in good order. And thank you for your submission. So we talk about some of our government accounts, and really as we work with our customers related to this whole capture spectrum, not just mobile, we're really looking to help them turn any document type or document form or any document that they receive into electronic content and information, into real-time data that can help accelerate a process or be used to open up a claim, initiate a benefit or an enrollment. So it's really about triggering processes and enabling this information to travel through your systems. We're focused on reducing those costs. Again, if we can do it automatically, someone fills out a form, they submit it to us, we're able to read this information automatically, we can accelerate that system. Right? We don't have to now, we can go straight through, we don't have to have people keying information, we don't have to people handling manual exceptions. We can really reduce those costs around manual entry and access to information and sharing of information and collaborating. And ultimately related to risk. We talked about chain of custody, documents sitting on someone's desk that are health documents and things like that. Expose your agencies to risk and compliance issues. Now you have complete electronic control over who views it, how they viewed it, how long they can view it, when they touched it, how they can move it, who they can move it to, and how they access it. So it's much more secure, much more protected within your business processes by your own business rules. And finally, it's really essentially one platform. Whether we're talking about engaging on a mobile phone, the document scanner, multifunction device, you have one single platform that you're standardizing on, and then you're exposing those services and those channels to your users based upon how they should be interacting or how they should be submitting this content to you. So it's not uncommon for us to, when we do a mobile solution, to also deliver a web portal integration as well. So if they don't have the mobile phone, use the web portal. Don't have the web portal, email it. Don't have access to email, find a fax machine. You don't have a fax machine? We'll take it via paper at this remote office and they'll capture it for you there. But it's the same process through the same system. And that's what's important as you build these solutions out, that you standardize on that single vendor framework. So here's an example of a government agency that is deploying mobile capture. And this is a customer here that basically deals with no-fault workers' comp insurance. And roughly 230,000 different enterprises supporting over 4.5 million employees. And this customer here understood they were being overwhelmed with paper requests. And there was a high volume of latency from the time the request came in to when the user saw actionable benefit to when they were going to be reimbursed for these expenses. These are injured workers. So what they did is they deployed a capture solution initially that was handling these claims via scanning them. They immediately saw benefit if they could extend that out via email and fax. They provided multiple channels. And now they're implementing their mobile strategy, which is, as that injured worker files a claim, they have the unique identifiers, they know how to submit content to them. They go see the physician. As they leave the physician's office, utilizing their mobile phone, they can submit that claim directly into that system, into that process while they're in the doctor's office. They leave the pharmacy, they can initiate the pharmacy request directly from the pharmacy for reimbursement. So now they have multiple channels they are engaging their constituents on to get this benefit from them. So basically, the electronic input is very important. It's immediately electronic, it's secured by the system, it's no longer in paper form. They don't have the risk and accountability for receiving this user's content because they never physically touched their boundaries. And they have the benefit of now multiple channels engaging their customers, reduced operating costs, and better system throughput and benefits. So a little bit about Koufax. Obviously, we've been around for a long time, but we recognize as the market in multiple categories as relates to capture and BPM. And then just overall, it's a pretty substantial company. We're based in Irvine, California. Over 800 channel partners who support our solutions with over, I think we're about 1,100 employees now, still here in California. Well, only about 350 in California, but worldwide. It's in the booth outside if you just want to go see it and touch it, play with it. You can download it from the App Store on iTunes or Google Play. And there's a free demo that's a part of it. You can capture your expenses and they'll send you back a nice image with all your data about your expense in there. So it's fun to play with. Or you can capture a V card or a business card and it'll give you back a V card just as a demo, but it's kind of fun to see how the technology works and what the benefits could be for your processes. Good, thank you.